so that we can be bombarded. We can be bombarded from all angles by the feedback. Hello. That's how far I've gone. Today is day 60. Yes, 60. 60 days gone, 40 days remaining. I think I should start doing countdown now. What do you think? Or is it too early to do countdown? So, anyway, today we're going to be talking about the power of feedback. Yes, the power of feedback. So what is feedback? Feedback is like information or response or reaction given to somebody about their behavior or their actions or their performance. That is feedback. And feedback is so important, very, very powerful for us to move forward. It's what helps us sometimes to pivot, to change direction. It helps us to be able to know whether where we are going is right and to correct ourselves. So feedback is very, very important in everything that we do. And there's this saying that came to my mind when I was thinking about this topic, and the saying goes like this. It says, it's madness to continue doing the same thing and expect a different result. Have you ever heard that saying before? And a lot of us have that madness. Yeah, we want to continue doing the same thing, but we expect different results. And feedback is one thing that can remove that madness from us, that can help us with that madness in quotes, So feedback is very, very important in everything we do. And I was just thinking, as I was thinking about this topic, that we need to address certain issues about feedback. And the number one thing is, who is supposed to give us feedback? Like, who can give us feedback? And I just looked at it and I'm like, everybody and anybody should be able to give us feedback. Should be able to get feedback and be ready to get feedback from people that are high up there. We should be able and ready to get feedback from people that are low down there. Remember what we talked about yesterday? We talked about, the common things, and I talked about common people. And I said we should not, look down on common people. Anybody should be able to give us feedback. Even a child should be able to give us feedback, and we should be able to accept it. And for example, our bosses can give us feedback. Somebody as high as our bosses, somebody as low as a child can give us feedback. Somebody as close to us as our spouse can give us feedback. Somebody as far away from us as even a total stranger can give us feedback. So feedback can and should come from, every angle. And I remember when I was doing this course I was doing one time, a master's degree, and it's a managerial course. And in one of those courses, I remember something that we were told about 360 degrees feedback, when like in a workplace where you can get feedback from, you should get feedback from your bosses, from your subordinates, from your peers, from even your customers. So, 360 degrees all around. So everybody and anybody should be able to give us feedback. So feedback also should and can, and as a matter of fact, must come from every angle so that we can be bombarded. We can be bombarded from all angles by the feedback. And the other question I would, like us to address is how, how is feedback supposed to be given? Because I was thinking about the feedback is like a pot of soup, sweet, nice soup. When you give somebody, it will be palatable, or if you give it to somebody, it may not be palatable. So there are some ingredients you need to put in that pot of soup to make it palatable or non-palatable, so that when the person eats the feedback, the pot of feedback, the soup, it will do well. It will give them nutrients in their body. It will be palatable. It will give them the adequate nutrition. Or if the soup is not good, or is not sweet, or is spoiled, when you give the person that soup, the person will not like it. It will not be palatable. So there has to be things. There's a way that you will give the feedback that will make it sweet, that will make it palatable. So, like, what are the ways? So the number one thing is, if you want to give feedback to somebody, we must focus on the behavior and not on the person. And I'm going to give an example of each and every one of these ways, these processes, or these ingredients that we can put in the feedback. So the first thing is that, okay, let me give an example. I'm going to use the example of maybe, like, let's say you have a roommate or an apartment mate, or you're living with somebody and the person is not the cleanest or the tidiest of people, and you want to give them feedback about it. For you to attack the behavior and not the person, you can't just say, oh, you're a dirty person, you are dirty. You can't say that. That's already attacking the person's personality. You are attacking the person's personality and the person's the person themselves, and not the behavior. The behavior is the dirtiness, right? So instead of you saying you are a dirty person, you can say, oh, I've noticed that sometimes you do loiter the places, you put things around the floor, and this doesn't look nice, because when we have visitors, the visitors will, just feel that we are dirty people and they won't be comfortable. You've passed the same message without attacking the person's personality. So that's one way. The other way is, if you want to give feedback to somebody, you can make sure that you do it in a timely manner. Don't let the feedback be as close as possible to the time of the incident. For example, if maybe this same roommate issue that we're talking about, and let's say it's December, and the person, you now go to the person, you want to give the person feedback, and you're like, that's how in January you poured spaghetti all over the floor, and then the visitors came and blah 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 blah. Something happened in January. Why are you talking about it in December? The feedback would be less likely to have effect than if you said it immediately as it happened in that January. You get what I mean? So that's another thing. Make it timely. Another thing is, make it private as possible. I know that sometimes you may not necessarily be able to give feedback in private, but as much as possible, give it in private, not in the public place. Maybe when all the person's friends are around, you're like, oh, this girl or this man or this boy is so dirty. He or she just litters everywhere. She puts the plates there overnight for weeks without washing, in the presence of all his or her friends. Oh, I almost fell there. In the presence of his or her friends. That is not going to make the pot of feedback soup to be palatable at all. So another way in which we can make feedback to be very effective is making sure that we are specific. For example, still going by this same example now, like, you tell the person that, oh, I noticed that. Don't just say, oh, you are just a dirty person, you are just so dirty. You can say, look, I noticed that when you eat with plates, you tend to leave your plates in the sitting area, or you tend to leave your plates overnight. This is not nice. Let's try as much as possible to wash the plates immediately you use it. You are being specific, at that point. You are not just generalizing. So that makes the feedback more effective, and it will even enhance change. It will make the person to know what specific areas they actually need to deal with. Then another way in which we can make feedback very effective is to also provide solution to the problem. Like, you can't just say, for example, this our same example, you can't just say, oh, you're just a dirty person, you're always dirty, throwing things around, everywhere is dirty, But if you say something like, oh, I can see that this place is always dirty, why can't we make a timetable or a schedule where we are cleaning? You clean this week and I clean the next week, and that way we can make sure that the place is kept clean. You have given a feedback, but you have kind of opened the door to change. by preferring a solution to whatever the problem is. So that is another way. So if we combine all these things, then we will, at the end of the day, the feedback will be getting results. We'll be helping the person, because there's no point giving feedback and nobody is able to do anything with it, or the person is even more angered, or the person is even feeling worse after the feedback. And because the whole idea of the feedback is to get results, right? So this is how we can give feedback to people, and this is also how we can best receive feedback from people. And I just want to conclude by saying that feedback should be actively sought after. We should, when people give us feedback, number one, we should expect feedback, because a lot of us, we don't want feedback. And feedback can be positive or negative, because I've kind of delved a lot in the negative part, but feedback can be positive. In fact, those are the two, both should work together. Those are the two types of feedback, positive and negative. The positive one is when you are telling somebody what they have done well and you are praising them, and yeah, that's the one we all like, right? That's the one we all like. I love that one. And you're like, oh God, you're so good, you're beautiful, you do this well, you are giving the person positive things about themselves, which is great. We all like this. But the negative one also is important, because that's also the one that also helps us to grow. Both work hand in hand. So there's negative and there's positive. So both must be present and both work together. So we should expect feedback. One, we should embrace feedback when they come. That's two. And thirdly, we should seek it. We should ask for it. Most of us don't do it, but I'm going to do it as I'm talking now. This thing that I'm saying is affecting me. I'm going to make sure I ask for feedback in some aspects of my life. So we should ask for feedback. We should actively seek for it and ask for it, so that we can develop in our lives, so that we can quit the madness and so that we can succeed. That's all I have for us today. Let's see how far I've gone. That's how far I've gone. So I'm going to see you when I'm done. I'm back. "67 minutes. So today we've talked about the power of feedback. And when I was coming, I remember when I started this YouTube videos, shooting the videos, I actually asked for feedback from some members of my family, and the feedback I got, I was able to kind of implement it to make things better. So I'm going to actively ask you for feedback. Yes, you that is watching me, your comments is a kind of feedback. When you comment, when you like, it's a kind of positive feedback. When you share, it's it's a positive feedback for these videos. And yeah, I just want to ask for your feedback. Do comment in the videos. If you've not watched the ones I've done before, please, you can go back and watch them. It's feedback. I'm asking you for feedback. So if there's any area of our lives where we feel, in short, we need, not if there's any area of, we need feedback in every area. So let's just look at those areas of our lives and pick the ones where we need immediate feedback today, and ask somebody for feedback so that it can help us in our progress. Thank you for hanging out with me again today. Bye. See you tomorrow. Bye.